for joining today. This is totally informal, so we're just gonna touch on a few points, and if you have questions, you can certainly just chime in because it's a small group. I think that'll work just fine. So if you want to unmute yourself and just go ahead and ask a question, I think that that's perfectly fine. One caveat, I'm outside and there's some jets that sometimes fly over, like right now. So I'm just gonna mute myself really quickly. Okay, I hope you can hear me okay. Sorry about that. I live near an air base, and right about this time, the jets fly over, but I have some kids inside the house that are a little loud, so I think it's a little bit better for me to be outside. It seems to work most of the time. So again, I'm Eileen Hamill, and I'm the Graduate Programs Manager. And what I do is I support the Graduate Program Director, Elliot Moss. And most of you attended Elliot's talk last week. So Elliot's a faculty member and I'm a staff member. So when I say I support him, administratively, I work with the graduate school to facilitate current, CICS policy and things like that. I work with IPO to support you in your needs if you're an international student. So I am part of admissions for the PhD admissions process. I send you your letters if you remember the emails and onboard you. I'm fairly new, so I've only been with the college about 2 years, and after having done admissions for 2 years, we're hoping to make some positive change with that, make it a little easier for onboarding and things like that. So I'll be looking for some feedback from all of you later. So after admissions, I work with enrollment. So making sure that there are enough 600 level classes for you to meet your requirements. And I also take care of things like making sure that you're coded full time so that you can be free to take 1 or 2 classes, do your research, your assistantship, and if you have outstanding loans, that full-time status is really important. So that's something if you have any questions about that. Also work with you on your statute of limitations. So if you're, needing more time to complete your PhD, that's something you can come and see me about. So basically you can come see me about anything and I'll just find the right person to help you solve whatever issue it is. So first I just want to check in with everybody. If you have any questions about when you arrived with immunizations and submitting the documents, your hiring paperwork must be fine. I haven't heard anybody say that they had any issues with that. Spire IDs, if you've been able to receive your Spire ID at Whitmore, for those of you that are here, and if you're not here yet, that's okay. You can get that when you arrive. And then if you have any questions about the RCR training, which is super critical if you're going to be funded by any kind of NSF grants. I want to make sure you've completed the RCR training. Some of you haven't, and that's okay. Just, if you can look back at my email and try to find that link. If you can't find it, just email me. And what's next? So does anybody have any questions about those sort of initial things or completing any of those? No questions? Okay. So we'll go on. So what's next? What's happening? You're either living here and you've started your coursework, you've met your advisor either in person or on Zoom, probably on Zoom, and you're wondering what's next in my PhD program. Well, you can certainly start talking up to your advisor about things like independent studies. If you want to do a separate project with them or a different faculty member, you're welcome to do that. And I'm going to get back to independent studies in a minute because that's a process, and I want to just kind of go over it because it's new this year, the process, and it's new for faculty too. So, so what is next? Well, In October, you'll probably have some midterm exams. In November, around November 5th, we'll start enrollment for the spring semester. So right after midterms, you want to kind of start thinking about what classes you want to take for the spring semester. As far as PhD students in classwork, I do recommend that you not overburden yourself. This happens a lot, and we want to make sure that you're successful in your coursework and not just getting a good grade, but really getting the most out of the class. Often we see students try to take 2 cores and a seminar, or 2 cores and independent study, and that can work. It can work for some, but when you're juggling research or being far from home or not being on campus, that can be really challenging. I would like you to make sure that you consider your current situation and the challenges that we're all facing. Some are facing greater challenges than others, and please keep that in mind because your own health comes first. And taking on too much right away is not healthy. So if you've enrolled in 1 core and maybe a seminar, or 1 core and an independent study, that's a great way to start. If you've taken on 2 courses and you feel confident that that's okay for you to manage, great. It is important to talk to your advisor about your courses and the level of commitment. Some courses, as you know, will require greater levels of commitment than others. And you can talk to other students. You should be partnered up with your mentor already, if not soon. You can
Excuse me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, I have a quick question.
Yep.
Is everything a core course except for seminars? Because I'm not sure what the thing, because I know that seminars and independent studies are non-core. Is everything else core? Or
Right, so
what are the options?
that's a great question. Thank you for interrupting me. And I do talk fast sometimes, so I'm trying not to. So the core courses are listed under the MS, PhD, or PhD requirements. You click on courses, and there's a list of core courses. Those are approved by the faculty. They vote on the class to be approved as a PhD core. And what that is they feel as though it meets the requirements of being a strong enough class, covers a particular area, of course, and there's a 6 core requirement for both the MS, PhD, and the PhD track. So those cores are not seminars, they're not independent studies. They could be a number like 690 OP, which is a newer class. It just hasn't gotten out of the 90 status, which is the new class number. So any of the classes on that list are considered core classes, and you do need 6. We have a lot of new faculty we are onboarding over the next year, so I think you're going to see a few new classes come on. When they develop a new class, we just have to have it approved by the whole faculty as a core class. Some of the classes, not a lot, will be, you have an option to use 690 OP. You have an option to use that core as either theory or AI. So it crosses both areas. You can't use it for both, but let's say you don't take advanced algorithms and you take 690 OP, then you can't use 690 OP to cover a theory core, because theory has 2 specific classes that you have to choose one of. AI has 2 specific classes you have to choose one of. So you do have to choose one of those 2. And then 690 OP can just be another theory, essentially. But because those 2 areas have specific classes that they want you to take while you're here, that's important to remember. 611 is very, very popular. The 2 instructors are amazing, and I highly recommend the class. I know it's challenging, and there's a lot of work involved, but people say it when they leave here, it's one of the most rewarding classes that they've taken for their research. I think Andrew McGregor is teaching it this fall, and it'll rotate in the spring to Ramesh Siddharaman. And Ramesh has been here a long time. He's, I believe he's a distinguished faculty member. He's won numerous awards, and they're both just really great teachers, really great instructors. So that's a great class. The other one you can choose from for theory is 601, and that is Neil Immerman. And if you don't know anything about Neil Immerman, you should Google him because he has like a proof named after him or something. He's pretty famous in the whole algorithm world, so, or whatever world. So it's pretty cool to say you took a class with Neil while you were here, and he teaches some really great seminars too. The two classes, the core classes that you have a choice of for AI area are 683 AI and 689 machine learning. Instructors are fabulous. 689, I can't remember who's teaching it this fall. It might be Ben Marlin. Anybody know? Anyone taking it?
Yep, it's Ben Marlin.
Okay, great. Thanks, Prachetta. Yes, so Ben's great. And 683 could be Shlomo Zilberstein. He's fabulous. And so they're both really great classes, and it kind of just depends on what it is that you need to, your advisor usually will recommend one or the other for your research and things like that. And then the systems area for cores, you don't have to take a particular class. You can take anything off of the core list of 600 level classes. Popular classes are systems. I forget the number, 620 or something, 621 maybe. The security and distributive systems, I think, is also another popular class. There's just so many you can choose from, which is really nice that you can do that. So you have to take 6 cores, one of either 601 or 611, one of either 683, 689, one systems, any of them, and then the other 3 you can mix and match whatever you want to take. So that's the core area. If you're on the MS PhD track, I know Elliot went over this, and please interrupt if you have a question. If you're on the MS PhD track, then you still have to do your 6 cores, but to complete that master's portion, you have 12 other credits left because it's a 30 credit master's you're earning. Of that 12 credit balance, so to speak, 6 of it is going to be your master's project, also called your synthesis, which is what you're going to submit for your portfolio for candidacy. So you get 6 credits for that project. The other 6 can be seminars, independent studies, maybe you want to take statistics in the math department, or you could take a linguistics class. It's essentially an elective. You can't take French and use it toward the degree, but you could take a French class. You just couldn't use it toward the master's. So you have a little bit of flexibility, and I think some of you are probably doing an independent study this fall with your new advisor, and you can use those 3 credits toward the master's for the MS PhD. Any questions about that part of it?
I have a question about registering for the independent study. So I've agreed with my advisor that we will be doing one this semester, but I'm not actually registered for it right now. So I found the online form on the website, and my only question is, should I fill this out by myself, or should I send like my responses to my advisor so that he can check them first? Like, do we need to discuss this together, or is it something I just fill out by myself and then maybe you go talk to him and verify or something? Just if you have any guidance in that regards.
Great questions, Nicholas. Thank you. I wanted to go over independent studies from start to finish, so that's really great that you brought that up. We have a new system online. We used to have paper, so we're really excited to have an online system. The way an independent study works is whether you're in the United States right now or you're starting remotely, you're going to collaborate with your advisor on a project. So you develop a project, you talk about it, it's going to be worth 3 credits. That's typically what it is. So you'd have a 3 credit project, you talk about it, you develop the criteria for evaluation, and you have the title and the explanation of the project. It's usually, maybe between 3 and 5 sentences, let's say. It doesn't have to be extensive. You go to the student forms page under graduate student forms. At the very top is independent studies. And the directions are actually on there. But basically, you're just going to fill in this form, this Drupal form on our website, and you should have already discussed the project with the faculty member. Okay, so if you want to have an email going back and forth, you know, sort of abbreviating it, that's fine, but you don't have to get it perfect with them in terms of what you're going to put in the Drupal form, because they're going to see it. So you're going to submit all that information, and when you hit submit, it goes right to your advisor or your faculty member you're working with. So they're going to see your title, the explanation, and the way you're going to be evaluated. They're going to see all that, and they can either check the box approving it, or they can check another box that says, I want to make some comments, and then they send it, and it goes back to you. And they may say, oh, can you change this or whatever, and you know, go from there. If they approve it, it then gets automatically routed to to Elliot, our GPD, and Elliot submits his approval, and it directly gets sent to Malika, who's the graduate programs assistant, and she will enroll you in the independent study. That's pretty much it. So the more accurate you have your project, you know, noted in the Drupal form, the thank you. You know, the smoother the process will go. And if it needs to be resubmitted, it's perfectly fine. The faculty member may say, just, you know, he may check the box that says discard this, we're going to start fresh. So that's really the process. It's just coming up with it in advance with the faculty member, submitting it, they approve it, GPD approves it, and then Malika will enroll you. The one thing that's different about independent studies is, and we don't certainly encourage this to happen all the time, but you can do this after add drop. So add drop ends on 9/7, and that means that you can no longer drop a class without there being some type of record. And for PhD students, it's really not going to be a negative thing when you drop a class after add drop. It's just what it shows on your record. So you can read all of that on the registrar's page in terms of, you know, what the dates are and things like that. But independent studies, you can be enrolled at any time during the semester up until, you know, let's say mid-November. That would just, you know, be a little strange. But you can be enrolled in it because let's say you're working on research halfway through the semester and you think, oh my gosh, this would be a great side project to earn some credits for an independent study. I'd like to do that. Or sometimes another faculty member may reach out to you because you're in a little bit of a different area. You know, I don't like to get too specific because I'm not a computer science person, but, you know, let's say you're in AI and somebody in theory needs a little project done that requires some machine learning or something. You know, maybe they need you to do that. And that doesn't come about until October. We don't want you to wait until, you know, registration happens for spring. You're working on the project, you're ready to go, just get enrolled, and then you can get the credits. As far as grading the independent studies, sometimes they're graded that semester, and sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're graded, you know, maybe in the following semester, or it doesn't really wrap up till the following summer. For PhD students, that's okay. You know, it's what you and your advisor work out. I can't even, you know, I can't comment on anything like that. But as far as the grades, the faculty can now submit your grade through the same system that you're going to submit your independent study in. So because they are called like a multi-instructor course, many instructors are grading a 696, we have this portal for them to submit the grade, and then the GPD puts it in Spire. That can happen anytime. I just got an email today from Prashant about 2 PhD students that just finished their spring independent studies. And, you know, so he's going to submit them, and the grade will go back and reflect. It will take out the incomplete, and they'll have that on their transcript soon. So the incomplete stays until you have the grade. If it goes past, I think, I want to say 2 years, it may turn into an F or something like that. But I'm not worried about that with you guys. So that's the process for independent study submission and then the grading. Do we have questions about that?
Hey, Is the process similar for synthesis project? Like,
Yes, it is. So I can talk about that a little bit. I know Elliot went over it a little bit, Prasanna, at the orientation, but sometimes you just need a little time to digest all these things that you've learned about. So I know Elliot mentioned the way into candidacy is our unique way of having a portfolio, which is essentially what Prasanna mentioned, the synthesis or the master's project. So for an MS PhD track student, you have this master's project that you get 6 credits for toward your master's, which is it's the synthesis, right? So what is synthesis? That's when you're sort of merging 2 areas to create this research project. For MS PhD students, you're going to submit your proposal for the synthesis during your 4th semester. So you and your faculty advisor come up with a synthesis project. It's worth 6 credits, so it's a sizable project, generally done over 2 semesters. So you submit this proposal. It goes online, goes through a process like the independent study, and it gets submitted to the GPD. He first reviews it. You have to have 2 faculty readers that are on board with it. So it would be your advisor and somebody in a different area. And then we circulate it among the faculty. So the entire tenured faculty and untenured will get an email saying this project is being submitted for synthesis. And if anybody has questions or objections, they can email Elliot and then that faculty advisor and have a conversation. It's not in my hands, really. It goes about 7 days. We wait, and if there are no objections to the project, Malika would enroll you in the 701. If you're on the PhD track only, you don't need the credits for the master's for it. So it's the same process where you submit the synthesis proposal. There's a certain deadline in the semester, like halfway. And you would submit it in your 3rd semester. So if you start the PhD track this fall, next fall, you're going to submit your proposal. Start working on it when it's approved, because we do tell you it's approved. And then the following semester, after submitting that proposal and working on it, is when you submit your portfolio. So for MS PhD, that's your 5th semester, your portfolio gets submitted. And for PhD, it's your 4th semester. So a couple things that maybe didn't come up at orientation about this is, well, cheapers. What if I don't have an advisor? Or what if I came and my advisor changed? I'm losing, I lost a little time because I've switched from, Shlomo to Ben or whatever, advisors. That's okay. We're going to have that discussion during your 4th semester or during your 5th semester or 3rd or 4th. And you're going to say, hey, my synthesis proposal's due and I switched advisors. As long as your new advisor is on board with, giving you that extra semester and agrees that, yes, you do need that extra time to build a new proposal or, just one with them, it's fine. So please don't be overwhelmed. We just like to keep you on track. So as long as you continue to make your academic progress, you're talking to your advisor, and you're able to submit it during that semester or have had the conversation and we've submitted a deferral to the next semester for you, it's okay. There have been times when students have not just switched advisors, but maybe they took a semester off. Certainly if you went on a leave of absence, your clock stops and, that's not held against you in any way. So, everyone has a unique situation. So we just work with you on that. The portfolio process can be, a little stressful for people, trying to make sure that they get all their letters of recommendation in and, the resume's updated. But we give you a nice timeline. We ask you for things early, and then we spread it out across the semester. So the only thing you should be worried about is finishing that project, that synthesis, right? So all the administrative stuff, we don't want you to worry about so much, because I'll help you with that. And I nudge the faculty to get their letters in, and that's my job. And I'm pretty good at it. So I do help you get everything submitted, and it goes really smoothly. So any questions on that? I don't want to get into the portfolio too much because I'm going to hold a session, information session, each semester. So on the 7th next week, I'm sorry, is it the 7th? Yeah, Monday. On Monday at 12 o'clock, I have an info session on how do I submit my synthesis proposal. So that is coming up. And on the 14th, I have how do I submit, my portfolio and everything that happens with that. And so I'm going to hold those every semester. So you can join at any time. It may not be your semester to submit anything. You could just be curious, and just come and listen and take it all in. And the more you know, the less stress, you will be about both processes. So you're welcome to join this semester or next or in the future. Any questions? You can put them in the chat if you don't feel like, talking out loud. It's fine. I have it open.
Ali, I had a question about, I don't know if you already mentioned this, I may have missed it. The ad drop deadline is end of day Monday or?
Yes, I think it's 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Okay.
But after that, just so you know, if you want to drop a class, it's fine. We have a form. We have a form that just has to be filled out. So if you go to the graduate school website under, they have a new site. I think it's policies and forms or something. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to share my screen with you because I think it would be really helpful for you just to have a quick tour of the grad school site. Let's see. Whoops. Where am I? Where is the grad school website? Hold on a second. Let me just find it and then I'll share my screen. Thought I had it open. Alex, can I share my screen with them?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Should I do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to do it from your end. I can't do it from where I am. Just go down to share screen at the bottom. Click. There you go. You got it. Perfect.
We're in. Okay, great. Okay. So what is the difference between the graduate school and your graduate school? This is a big question people have. They get confused sometimes with, what is the difference? Who does what, really? And so I'm just going to go over this quickly so you can see where things are, and there are resources for you. So the graduate school oversees all grad programs on campus, and they facilitate your admission. So they create your application, all of that application stuff is facilitated by them. We, import all the applications, and, so we were able to look through the data. So this is the main school. Okay. So they make the big decisions for us. Over here we have, all the different programs on campus. If you're interested in taking classes in another program, poke around. Linguistics, math and stats, electrical computing engineering, all of those are, we work collaboratively with in terms of taking classes, and business classes too. If they have a lot of analytics things going on over there. So under funding, if you wanted to read about different policies and things like that, it's in this area. This is their inclusion office. We have some great students this semester that are on the Spalding Smith Fellowship. They've been awarded. They have some really great events going on. This one moment. Yeah. Probably half an hour. I know. Okay. So under professional development, and you're going to get emails from us all the time because they have some really great professional development opportunities. You can see they have dissertation writing retreats, things like that. They have teaching events, but they also have career preparation. And I'm going to click on this communication one because lots and lots of great sessions about just talking to your advisor, not just writing, managing your time, they really have they have some great sessions, and they may only be an hour or 2 hours. So it's not a lot of time out of your day. And we have excellent feedback about these professional development opportunities. Here's the policy section I was talking about. So you go down to forms and documents. And when you click on that, these are all the forms, including your add drop form. Sorry, I have 4 kids and we're very busy here at home and they're in and out of the house. So I apologize for the noise. Okay, so this is the late add drop form. So for PhD students, sometimes you take too much and you just say, you know what, I need to push back and drop a class. I'll take it later. So you can fill this out. There's adding. This is the form you would use if you wanted to change your class to audit. Please note that if you enroll in a class as an audit, you cannot go back to a grading basis. You can start grading basis and go to audit. But it doesn't work the other way around. And there's no rule bending on that. This is where you would drop a class. So you just fill this in. When you drop a class, your faculty instructor has to sign. Then they have to check these boxes here. They need to know when you withdrew, were you passing or not? So that form you would fill out and you would send it to, have it signed and send it to Malika, and Malika will process it for you. Okay, you don't have to send it to the grad school. We'll take care of all those things for you. Also on this form is doctoral information, all the things you're going to be needing down the road. And then down here, master's degree. So many of you are going to earn a master's degree while you're working on your PhD. These are the forms that you would submit when you're ready to graduate. There's an eligibility form, and you list the 30 credits you want to use toward your master's. And the nice thing is you can choose. So if you don't want to use a particular class toward the master's because you got a grade you didn't like in it, then you just don't include it in the 30 credits. So you only list, as it says, the classes you want to use. And then that goes to Malika. So any of these forms you fill out, you just send them to Malika and she'll help you. At the very bottom, the last thing is right here, transfer of credits. Some of you have taken graduate classes as undergrads, or you took a graduate class as a grad student somewhere else and you want to transfer those credits, that class, into our program. As long as it wasn't used for another degree, then we can, and we approve of the class, then we can accept the credits. We have to get it approved by your registrar at your previous institution. So there's a process involved with that. If you want to get a waiver for a class, that's an internal thing. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. So let's say you took a class that was similar to 689 when you were at Cornell, and you come here and you're like, I kind of took that class. I really don't want to take 689 and I don't need 683, but one of those is required. You can get a waiver for 689. We have a form on our college website under student forms. It's a waiver form. It's like you fill it out, attach the syllabus, and you send it to Ben Marlin, who teaches 689, and say, this is the class I pretty much took already. Can I get a waiver? And Ben will say, most likely will say, that's fine. Just take another AI. It doesn't have to be 683 or 689. You can waive out of that requirement. Do you have a question about that? Because this happens a lot. No? Okay. And if you have a question later, please email me. It's fine if you don't think of it now. So you can waive a core class that's required, or if you took a class like 611 somewhere else, as long as the instructor of the current class says, oh, that's pretty much the same class, no problem. A waiver of a core doesn't give you credits. It just allows you to be more flexible with what you want to take, because we certainly don't want you to retake something you already had taken. That's just, kind of silly. Okay, one more time, I'm going to share my screen. Unless we, want to talk about something else. I want to go to our website, which I will tell you isn't the greatest website in the world, and I apologize for that. We are building a new website, so that's exciting. So under current students is graduate students, right? That's where you've gone probably a couple times. New student information. There's two sections, PhD and MS PhD. You choose the one that you're in. Student forms, like I said, is where the independent study is, right at the top here. Malika has nicely put the form, linked it here, so you can just grab the add drop form here. Here's the waiver of core form, and that's internal. This is where you submit your online, right here, master's project, which is your synthesis proposal. PhD only would submit it here. When you get to portfolio, there's a report. It's kind of like an expanded CV. We have some travel grants, although this year it's extremely limited because the budget cuts. I will send out information about travel grants soon, but if you know, because there's limited money, but they've opened up other options for people regarding like different professional development type things you could use the funds for. So I'll send an email about that. But typically our travel grant is around $100 to maybe $400 per student if they're going to a conference because their paper was accepted. Usually your advisor would pay for your trip, and then we supplement it with a little bit of extra, you know, a little bit extra. So that's a process. Okay. Registration has all the details surrounding how to register for classes and things like that with dates. Wait lists, how wait lists work, things like that. If you have questions, you're trying to get into a class, you can email me, not Malika. What was I going to go to? Oh, okay. So let's go to requirements. And if you have to go, I understand, or you want to stick around or ask questions, just, is there anything in the chat, Alex? I can't see it when I'm sharing.
No, nothing in the chat.
Okay, great. I just don't want to skip anybody. Okay. So it's not the best website. Again, I'm apologizing, but basically when you go here to the 6 core requirements in the 3 areas, right now it's 3 areas. I think in a year or two, it's going to be broken down even further, but we'll see. Here are all the classes that are your cores. You can see that 601 and 611, you have to take one of those. Any of these systems classes. 645, database design implementation, super popular. Here's the system, 630.
I think we actually do have a question. Nikki asks, for the purposes of assessing eligibility for things like grants or events, do MS/PhD students who have just started the program count as, quote, doctoral students? Sometimes that language is used, and I wanted to clarify.
Oh, that's such a good question, Nikki. Thank you. Thank you, Alex. Whoops. Are we there?
Your video's gone. We can hear you.
The video's gone. There we go.
There you go.
Thanks. Great question. So you're always a PhD student. You are on a PhD track, you're a PhD student, and once you get here, that's who you are. If you haven't earned an MS, you're earning it on your way to earn your PhD. So it's a kind of unusual way that we broke it down. I know other universities don't break it down. They just say PhD. But the way our university works is you have 2 academic programs in Spire. You have an MS academic program and a PhD academic program. So the bonus for this is, for some people, if you need CPT as an international student, you get 12 months of full-time CPT for your MS program, and then you reset and you get 12 months of CPT for your PhD program. So it really is helpful to you that we have it broken down technically, you know, in Spire. But you are a PhD student and you have different requirements, and you are full-time because you're doing research and you have an assistantship or fellowship and you're taking classes. So the difference with a master's only student is that, well, a lot of differences, but it's a course-based program. They're taking courses and they're going out to industry, or they're applying to a PhD program somewhere. So some of you have come in off of the master's degree. You came in as computer science. You're here today, and I'm so excited you're in our PhD program now. You came in as a master's student to earn course credits, and then you have applied to the PhD program, and now you're a PhD student about to finish your master's, and then you'll be a PhD student. The master's students are not coded as full-time. They have to be in a 9-credit, they have to be enrolled in 9 credits each semester as international students to be full-time. So there are different requirements essentially for that program, and they have different core requirements. So I'm sorry.
I have a quick question related to this. So you mentioned that our clock will reset when we finish one program, right? Like the CPT clock, basically. So does that reset when we get our master's degree, or does that reset when we submit our synthesis proposal and it gets accepted?
It's a good question. It's your master's degree. So you would have graduated and completed that academic plan. Yep. It's been recently cleared up because we had students that were in the MS PhD track and they weren't submitting their graduation form, right? Because they're just busy and just time goes by, and then they still wanted some CPT over the summer and they had already exceeded it. So it's important once you meet that requirement that you do graduate so that you can refresh your CPT if you need it.
Thank you.
Did I answer your question?
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else have a question about the
Miguel asked, what is CPT?
Oh, great question. I'm so sorry to make that assumption. So it's curricular practical training. And when students are here on a visa, such as an F1 visa that most students are on, or there's a J1 also, they have to, in order to work off campus, they have to go through an approval process with the SEVIS and Homeland Security, immigration offices, where they, it's not Homeland Security. It's immigration, sorry. The approval process is basically, you get this job at Google for the summer, and we want to make sure it's integral into your program. Is it part of your research? Is it, is it required? No, not necessarily, but the immigration folks want to make sure that students are here taking classes, doing work that's part of their program. So it's a process. It's, just another hurdle for our international students, unfortunately, but we try to make it as smooth as possible. Students work with the career offices and they get some amazing jobs, especially our PhDs that are in demand. So I'm shocked when I see your employment letters. It's all good stuff. So you work with the career services to get a job, and then you work with them to get your CPT approval, and you get you get your documents so that you can go work at Google or Facebook or Amazon or something for the semester. Most of the time you don't do this for at least a couple years. You really want to get that coursework and initial research going, and then you wouldn't do a CPT during the academic semester for a while, but you certainly can do it in the summer. I know your first summer you're fully funded, so that may not be the best time to take off when you have all this funding next summer. But maybe your second semester you want to get out there and just sort of helps you explore, what area you're interested in. So that's what CPT is. It's only a requirement for international students.
Does the department offer graduate CS courses during the summer?
Very few. Our faculty like vacation. I can say that on this informal setting. No, they really don't. We have, through the University Without Walls program, which is our continuing education office on campus, they manage all the summer and winter break coursework. And so we typically have had, we have a law class, internet law, that's offered in the summer. And then we have several undergraduate classes offered over the summer. But as far as graduate classes, it's there aren't that many. There might be some in security offered here and there. But no, I would not say there are any core classes offered over the summer at this time.
We have another question. Could you clarify, can CPT be done in academic semester as well?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. So because you're a PhD student, the assumption is that your CPT is part of your research. So you can go and work 40 hours somewhere at, Amazon for the semester. It's something you work out with your advisor, really. It's not something that is typically done, as I said before, in the first few years. It's really, I've done my portfolio and I'm, either I've achieved candidacy or I'm about to because my coursework is done. And now I need to go work and get some research done. So for instance, I have a student who did a whole bunch of research at Amazon, got approval to use that, research that he did there, to use it in his dissertation, went through the whole process. So that was a really amazing opportunity. And he did it during the academic semester and has been able to use that information research in his dissertation. So yeah, it's really beneficial for you to do that if that's important to your field, is to go during the academic semester. Or maybe you went in the summer and they extended it, and that happens a lot. You're not done with the project, or they really want you to stay on and finish another project. So we're very flexible around that for PhD students, MS, PhD, either one, same thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, so
I had a
yeah,
follow-up question on the same thing. We need to maintain our full-time status during the academic semester, fall and spring, right? And if we do the CPT, how do we maintain the full-time status? Do we have to be enrolled in courses?
Sure, that's a good question. So we go into Spire about a month before every semester, and we code you as full-time. And that goes into the system. And when the graduate school sends reports to the International Programs Office saying these are the students that are full-time, also for your loan companies, that report goes to some big, central database for that. That report goes there and it tells them you're full-time. So yes, even though you're on a CPT for a semester, you're still considered a full-time student because that's your research. That's what you're doing. You're not going to the beach to, be a lifeguard for the semester, right? You're going to do work that's integral to your research. So we would code you as full-time. Yes, that would be fine. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. What's the other thing? Oh, I wanted to talk to you. I'm like whispering. I want to talk to you about changing advisors. I touched on it earlier, but I like to talk about this when there aren't any faculty, here. Changing advisors is a very much accepted practice in our college. I know some programs, you come in and you're not attached to anyone, right? Like I think Cornell and a couple other programs, you don't come in attached to an advisor. Here, your advisors recruited you, right? So they've seen what you've done, your potential, they've talked to you, they want you to come. Let's say by the end of the semester, or even the end of this first year, you're sort of, no, this isn't really the research area I'm interested in, or I don't like the style of advising relationship. I don't get enough feedback from this, faculty instructor. We want you to first reach out. Come and see me. It's a conversation that'll just be between you and I. And then I will give you some direction. What the direction might be is to go talk to Elliot Moss, who's the GPD this fall. Andrew McGregor will be the GPD starting in the spring because Elliot's retiring. And just having a conversation with them, like what your expectations were and how they're not being met, whether it's the advisor or the research area, because the research area does change for a lot of people. And it may stop it with me. You may just make a decision to stay or find a different advisor after you talk to me or after you talk to Elliot. At that point, at either point, you can decide what you want to do, right? You're like, well, you know what? I actually think I can just talk to my advisor and tell them I need more feedback, and that's fine, and then see how it goes from there. If you decide to change faculty advisors, my suggestion is, and the faculty would agree, let your advisor know you're considering changing advisors. Let them know why. And I know it's easier said than done if it's not a research thing, right? So you're like, this person doesn't give me feedback. I'm just having a difficult time communicating, let's say. Come to me, I'll help you word it in a way that maybe makes you feel more comfortable. I've done this a lot. Not a lot, but a few times. For the most part, it's research, right? So you're like, oh, you know what? Ina is really, she's doing all this awesome machine learning stuff, and I really want to work with her after talking to other students, maybe. And right now I'm working with, I don't know, Brendan O'Connor, let's say. It's, you know, just shouldn't turn out to be the area that you feel like you want to stay with. Tell Brendan and say, you know, Brendan, I'm kind of thinking, you know, maybe I might want to change advisors. I'm going to say 95% of the time, you're going to get a reaction that's okay. Like, all right, well, let me know. And honestly, since I've been here, I haven't really heard anybody say anything like, I can't believe you're going to leave me. I've never heard that, but I don't want to say 100% because I don't know. But the faculty tout transparency and open advising change sort of policy. And with that, you should be encouraged to have conversations with other people. What I highly do not recommend is going to another advisor before talking to your own. That can get a little touchy. So you being open and honest is helpful in right off the bat, because if Brendan runs into Ina in the hallway and says, oh, did you have a chance to talk to Eileen? I heard she wants to, you know, maybe talk to you about changing advisors. That's great, because they're going to have that conversation, and Brendan's going to say, oh, this person does this stuff really great. You know, I think they would be a good match. You know, they're going to have those conversations that are really important. If Ina runs into Brendan and says, oh, I heard Eileen wants to come work with me, and Brendan doesn't know anything about it, that gets awkward. And they're very collaborative. So I think that, I think, you know, I want you to understand that every effort can be made to help you and guide you to find the right advisor. If you have questions, please ask or email me anytime. And I'm happy to meet with you. We can meet on Zoom. You can tell me what's going on. I can give you suggestions about how to approach faculty. Some may feel more approachable than others, right? You know, some are warm and fuzzy and some are not warm and fuzzy, but they, just like any of us, right? We all have different personalities, and you kind of have to get to know what works for them. But don't wait. Do not wait to the last minute. We want to make sure that you have a good match. Any questions about that, Sam?
Taking a hard 180 because I missed the first 5 minutes of the meeting due to technical difficulties. So, like, if anybody else has a question about this stuff, then like, go before me, please.
I don't see anybody. I think everyone's thinking about this because you're not there yet, right? You just met your advisor. But I want to tell you this off the bat, Sam and everyone, because it's important that you know that we're here to listen to you and help guide you. But you can come to me because I'm not faculty and I feel like I'm pretty easy to talk to. And then we'll go from there if we need to have a conversation with the GPD also. He has really great guidance. And also, you can always collaborate research faculty advisors with, you know, advisors in other departments. So if you do something with linguistics or something like that, those are other opportunities that you have. So go ahead, Sam.
Okay, so I've arrived. I'm in Amherst. I'm going through the like proper quarantine and testing protocols. I know you were talking about this at the beginning because I heard the tail end of it. But like, what now? The
what now? Yes. So actually, before what now wasn't very much. I was checking in to see if anyone had questions about submitting immunization paperwork, hiring paperwork, getting your Spire ID. Make sure that you complete your RCR training so you can be funded on an NSF grant if that's what you're going to be funded under. That was pretty much it. Just kind of onboarding sort of questions if anyone had any.
All right, and like on campus stuff is decided lab by lab.
Oh, so in terms of going into your lab to research?
Yeah, that's decided on a lab by lab basis based on necessity.
No. Well, I wouldn't say yes and no. So you should have gotten an email that tells you about filling out that RLOP form or something. There's some form you fill out if you want to request to get on campus. But essentially, the labs are closed. If your faculty advisor needs you to be in a lab for, I don't know, hardware reasons or robotics, I don't really know, then yes, you'd work with your faculty member who would then, fill that form out. Did you get that email?
It might. It's probably somewhere in my inbox. There are several hundred.
I know. It's So here's the thing. Here's the main thing to remember. If you have any questions about lab use, equipment, computers, software, all this stuff, anything with space and technical stuff, you can email system@cs.umass.edu. It's system, SYSTEM @CS. They are in charge of all of that, and they are amazing. Steve Cook is the director of CSCF, and he oversees the facilities. So he's actually on campus with a couple other staff people in his office. So they manage all that server stuff and then everything we're doing here. Alex is here also, and he's managing all of the events, the Zoom stuff for us, because I'm not a technical person, so we really need all this support. But for you guys, system, thank you, is the email, and it's going to be your go-to. They do everything. They take care of everything, really. So,
all right.
And they respond very quickly. You basically email them, which establishes a ticket, and then they sort of send it to the right person who manages it. You'll get information from them about like if a server thing is down or something, you're going to get information from them a lot. They're the persons you want to talk to about space, though. So if you can't find the email, just email them.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that both buildings are kind of closed. Yeah.
And I'm not on the hardware side of things.
Right. So I can't answer any more questions about that because I just don't know. And I'm home, right? I'm in my backyard, like most of us.
Also, did I hear small children or cockatiels?
Well, I have chickens. I have, I think I have 13 chickens. I have 2 dogs. They're inside. And the guy behind me is through the woods. I shouldn't say, he's not that close. He's mowing his lawn. And then I have 4 kids. I have 3 teenagers and a 1st grader. So, yeah.
I knew I heard birds other than those crows. Also, say hi to them for me.
Oh, of course. And they probably are crows because I like crows. They keep the hawks away from the chickens, which is good. Oh, we're just very busy here. We're a very busy house. So, anybody have any other questions they want answered right now? If not, you can email me anytime. Oh, and Alex, put my email up if you don't already have it at your fingertips. I'm happy to answer. And if I'm not around, I'll put an out of office, response so that you know. And Malika does a lot of processing of paperwork and things like that. She does all your she does everything from holds and full-time status. She puts a lot of information in Spire. So if you can't get a hold of me, certainly email her and she can help you. It's just the 2 of us. We have a master's advisor, Elizabeth Peralski, and she can answer questions about you know, about the program also. She's very knowledgeable. So that's pretty much it for today. If nobody has any other questions, I feel bad talking so much. No other questions? Okay, and Aline.
People are saying thank you.
Of course. And I want to welcome Aline. She's new. She's going to be joining us in the spring. So we're really excited to have her here. And I really appreciate everybody coming. So thank you.